Hey everyone, it's Jason and this is your cruise news update and our crew members receiving the tips that you pay for on your cruise. This is a scary situation as we have a cruise passenger that was arrested for having a firearm. And what is this black smoke coming out of this Carnival ship in Miami? So cruise story number one, and you would hope that people would have enough common sense to understand you can't bring a firearm on a cruise ship. It's on every prohibited list, on every cruise line, and it is the top thing. Do not bring a firearm. Well, a passenger was arrested trying to get back on the oasis of the seas in Aruba. They said he went through the screening process and they found a weapon on him. They detained him and handed him over to local authorities, where he could potentially see a $3,000 fine and jail time in Aruba. And if they figure out that he brought it on board in Fort Lauderdale, which likely he did, he could face other fines and potential other jail time. Now, what's wild to me is the embarkation date was on the 22nd of February. And 4 days later is when he was trying to bring it back on in Aruba. So likely he had this on the cruise ship for 4 days. That makes me a little nervous, I have to say this. And this has happened way too much in the past year. We've seen it happen in Palm Beach, Miami, and now Fort Lauderdale and New Jersey. And we saw someone bragging about bringing one on Facebook on a Carnival ship. What is going on? You can't bring a firearm on a cruise ship. Stop doing it. The other thing that blows me away is people that get caught with a steamer, yet they somehow miss a firearm. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. So cruise story number two, do you have a countdown clock for your cruise? Now for me, to bridge the gap between my cruises, I love watching the port cams, especially the Port of Miami cams. I love seeing all the cruise ship traffic coming in and out. It's really a cool thing to see, especially that narrow channel. And so this past weekend, I'm watching it and I see the Carnival Magic leaving and there is black smoke coming out of the stacks. Here's a picture of it. Now, almost immediately, I see it on social media and someone else is asking, what is this? Are they on fire? What's the issue? And the consensus was basically they were burning the wrong fuel. So within a certain amount of distance of the United States, they have to burn a cleaner fuel. And when they are outside of that distance, they can burn this bunker fuel. It's basically like a tar. It's really not good for the environment. Now, a side note to this is the Port of Miami is actually shore power now. About 95%, they say, reduction in emissions, and all 5 berths are shore power. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, obviously, that doesn't help when they're burning the wrong fuel like the Carnival Magic. There was a study done, it was by a newspaper article out of Alaska, and they were suggesting that cruise ships should be required, when they're in Alaska, to burn this cleaner fuel. And it would cost, obviously, depending on market conditions, between $40 and $75 more per person. Would you pay that extra amount so they weren't burning this nasty fuel, bunker fuel? I have to say I would. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. If you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and this is a subject that fires up a lot of cruise passengers, and it's automatic tips and gratuities. Are they right? Are they wrong? Do those monies actually get to the crew members that take care of you, like your cabin attendant and your main dining room staff? And we've seen popular cruise figures like John Hill, the brand ambassador for Carnival, that said absolutely they go back to the crew members. But there's crew members that have suggested otherwise, especially on many of the Reddit boards, where they're posting anonymously and they're saying this doesn't happen, especially in 2024, 2025. After the pandemic, many cruise lines had to change the way they went to business. And this makes sense because we know that cruise lines could not hire enough help. They were short on staff. So what they suggested is they started going to guaranteed salaries. So if a a passenger decided not to pay this crew member, their gratuities, they would not hurt them because they had a guaranteed weekly salary. What do you guys think about that? So even more information has come out recently, especially from Princess, that suggests that all pooled tips are paid in the form of a bonus, whether it's weekly, monthly, yearly bonuses, not compensation. Kind of raised a lot of people's eyebrows. They're like, crew members are saying this is what we've been talking about. And we've seen a popular trend, especially recently, I'd say the last 6 months to a year, especially with newer cruisers, that say, hey, in order to save a little money, I just remove my tips and I pay who I want to pay. Just go down to guest services, say remove them, and I'm going to tip maybe my cabin attendant and my main waiter, assistant waiter at dinner. And a lot of people have a problem with that. But the question is if the cruise lines are guaranteeing these salaries and then people are paying just the cash on top of it, well, why not do that? Now, what's interesting is I've suggested this, especially in the last 6 months to a year. Why aren't the cruise lines going the way of Virgin? Their cruise fare is a little higher and they just include it in the fare. And then you can argue about whether you want to pay a little extra or not. Obviously, it's not good for me because this is an interesting topic to talk about, but controversy over for the most part. What do you guys think? Are crew members making guaranteed salaries? Or the money that you're paying with automatic gratuities going directly back to them? Being interesting to hear from you guys. I really don't know about this anymore. I have to say, I've always been on the side, and I've been cruising since about 22 years. So, 22 years ago, I was for sure knew they went back to them. Princess used to break down how much went to them per passenger, per day. So you knew they were going to them. Now they're not as transparent anymore. And hey, if the cruise lines have to do this in order to get more people, they have to guaranteed salaries, fine, do it. But I personally think they should just go the way of Virgin, put it in the cruise fare, argument over, and we can tip extra if we want. What do you guys think? Can't wait to hear from you in the comments. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again so much for the continued support. And until I talk to you soon, happy cruising.